Today on Inquirer, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. attends the 29th Economic Leaders Meeting, meets with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Excavation inside the new Bilibid prison reservation surprises officials of the DOJ. In-person classes will be required in higher education institutions starting second semester of academic year 2022 to 2023. Senators Rafi Tulfo and Cynthia Villar clash over the conversion of farmlands into residential or commercial areas. And SIM Card Registration Act to take effect on December 27. Good evening. For our top story, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. attends the first day of the 29th Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC Economic Leaders Meeting, where he's also set to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping. To tell us more, here's Denisa Fernandez reporting live from Bangkok in Thailand. Denisa?
President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. is set to hold bilateral talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping and other Chinese officials here in Bangkok, Thailand, on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC Summit. Based on information from the palace, the meeting should be ongoing right now as the bilateral talks is scheduled at 5:30 p.m. here. However, they are yet to confirm if the meeting has already started. So far, we have no details yet of what topics are to be discussed, but we will update you on the developments as soon as we get more information. But Marcos earlier said that the issue of the West Philippine Sea dispute will be one of the top agenda if he meets with Xi. He stressed that it would be impossible for him to talk to China without raising the West Philippine Sea issue. During the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Summit in Cambodia last week, Marcos pushed for the adoption of a binding code of conduct in the South China Sea. He also reiterated his call to make the South China Sea a sea of peace, security, stability, and prosperity. House Speaker Martin Romualdez, before the bilateral meeting, talked to reporters and said that economic issues, as well as trade and investments, will also be part of the agenda. Romualdez added that he and officials of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and Industry will join the president during the meeting. Meanwhile, this morning, Marcos raised that the global economy cannot afford another crippling series of lockdowns and travel bans, even if the COVID-19 pandemic still exists. Speaking at the APEC CEO Summit, he said that implementations of such deflate consumer confidence, dampen the recovery of tourism, and derail the stability of global markets. The president underscored the need to reinforce global health systems against infectious diseases. Marcos also pushed for continuous investment in pandemic preparedness and to ensure global health resilience. He pointed out that adopting the One Health approach in strengthening health surveillance systems for emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases from the human-animal environment interface can be part of the solution. Marcos likewise raised the issue of food security again, highlighting that it is a serious global problem that is experienced by everyone. According to the chief executive, steep decreases in agricultural output and productivity are connected to climate change. Soaring prices of commodities, along with the supply chain disruptions and inflationary pressures, contributed to increasing food costs, said Marcos. On another concern, Marcos cited a study by the Asian Development Bank which indicates that the Philippines is among countries at great risk from climate change. He said diversification into renewable energy and other sources is imperative since energy demands of the modern global economy continue to expand quickly. He also said that the Philippines is prioritizing low-emission energy sources such as hydrothermal, geothermal, solar power, and wind power by targeting 35% renewable energy in the power generation mix by 2030 and 50% by 2040. The national government will team up with the private sector to enhance the resilience of people and businesses by leveraging the tools of sustainability, Marcos further said. Neil, after the bilateral meeting with Chinese leaders, Marcos is also scheduled to attend the APEC Economic Leaders Meeting Gala Dinner tonight.
So Denise, the president is set to meet with the Chinese President Xi Jinping, right? So as you know, this topic of a West Philippine Sea has long been a topic of concern, even during the past administration. So I'm just curious, what is the stand of President Marcos on the issue of the West Philippine Sea vis-a-vis our country's relationship with China?
Neil President Marcos, during his State of the Nation address, stated that he will not give up an inch of the country's territory. He also said that the Philippines will continue to be a friend to everyone and an enemy to none. Marcos also previously said that the centuries old friendship of the Philippines and China will continue to benefit both their people.
Mhm. That's Denisa Fernandez. Thank you, Denisa. We'll wait for more updates on this meeting between President Marcos and President Xi Jinping once it ends. Officials of the Department of Justice said that they were unaware of the excavation that was going on inside the new Bilibid prison reservation until it was exposed last week by an officer of the Bureau of Corrections. Solicitor General Menardo Guevara, who was Justice Secretary under the Duterte administration, has said he also had absolutely no knowledge about the alleged excavation. In a television interview last week, Bucor OIC Gregorio Catapang Jr. said he learned about the excavation last month, shortly after taking over the post from suspended Director General Gerald Bantag. Bantag admitted a day after Katapang's interview that he had directed the excavation 6 months earlier near the eastern part of his official residence inside the NBP reservation. He said he had intended to build the deepest swimming pool, at least in Metro Manila, which he planned to be used by many Bucor personnel who were scuba diving enthusiasts like him. According to Katapang, part of the excavation was an unfinished tunnel, which was about 170 centimeters high at the entrance. He said the tunnel could extend to Muntinlupa's Poblacion River, and it might be an escape route for inmates. Bantag said that no tunnel was being made and that the hole in a rock wall that was seen by Katapang was just for the waterway of the underwater pool. He also dismissed allegations that it could be used by inmates to escape, saying that it was very far from their location. The excavation site itself is about a kilometer away from the NBP's maximum security compound. In-person classes will be required in higher education institutions starting in the second semester of academic year 2022 to 2023, according to the Commission on Higher Education. CHED issued guidelines on the matter in Memorandum Order Number 16 dated November 11, but shared with the public only on Wednesday. According to the order, HEIs cannot go into full distance learning delivery, including online modality, without CHED approval. HEIs opting to implement a hybrid learning, which combines both on-site and remote learning, should allot at least 50% of the total contact time for in-person classes. Contact time refers to the total number of learning hours critical to achieving the intended learning outcomes of a course or subject. HEIs are also now required to submit to CHED regional offices their teaching and learning institutional plans towards transitioning to on-site or hybrid learning at least 1 month before their scheduled opening of classes. The CHED issued the order weeks after the Department of Education implemented a full in-person starting on November 2. Senators Rafi Tulfo and Cynthia Villar have figured in a verbal exchange over the conversion of farmlands into residential or commercial areas during plenary deliberations on the 2023 budget of the Department of Agriculture. Tulfo first inquired about the DA's efforts to address the decreasing number of farmlands in the country. Villar, the sponsor of the proposed 160.85 billion peso budget of the DA for next year, responded with a seeming explanation of how her family's business acquired lands to develop into residential or commercial ventures. But she quickly explained that they do not buy agricultural land in provinces. However, Tulfo said Villar's response was not answering his question. He repeated his assertion that many farmlands in the country have been commercialized and pointed out that there are many other areas where subdivisions can be constructed.
Lumilit po ang ating farmland. Binibili po ng mga malalaking developer at ginagawang commercial at residential land. Ano po ang ginagawa ng DA tungkol dito?
Alam nyo, that's our business. I
Ganun
want
po
to
ba?
tell you that we don't buy agricultural land in the provinces. Nobody will buy houses in agricultural land. We only buy in cities and capital towns
Ganun po ba?
because the buyer of houses, they want also an opportunity that if they're having financial problems, they can resell their houses.
Ano
I
nangyari,
think
ma'am?
it's the thinking of you have to understand agriculture as a business also. Where will the people live if you don't build subdivisions?
Marami po mga lugar na pwede pong pagtayuan ng subdivision. Huwag lang po i-take over yung mga farms. Kasi nga po, kuminsan yung mga farmers, dahil sila po yung naghihikaos, they're being taken advantage of.
The SIM Card Registration Act, which aims to fight text scams and spam, is expected to take effect on December 27, according to Senator Grace Poe. This even as uncertainties remain about whether the law will actually work. While the SIM card registration law was enacted in October, its implementing rules and regulations is still pending completion, according to the senator. A public hearing with the DICT and other stakeholders will be held on December 5 to discuss the IRR, which is expected to be completed and released to the public by December 12. Under the SIM Card Registration Act, those who already own a SIM card would be required to register with telcos within a given period, while those who have yet to purchase one will be required to submit a valid identification document to the telcos and direct sellers. However, local telcos have also sought to ramp up the national ID system's rollout and have more time to prepare for the law's implementation.
Unfortunately, I think that maybe the telcos are waiting for the IRR also,
Yes, Mr.
for it to be more clearer for them how to be able to police these texts. But I know that Globe and Smart has already canceled a lot of numbers based on this, and yet there's still some. It will be effective definitely December 27.
27.
So marami pa rin po, Mr. President, ang babati sa inyo ng Merry
Oo nga,
Christmas
marami pa.
at hihingi ng pang-aginaldo.
Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Pauline Del Rosario ng Bandera. Pauline?
Hi Neil! At sa ating mga kambandera natin all over the universe. Plano ng magretiro ni megastar Sharon Cuneta matapos ang 4 na dekada sa showbiz industry. Sa Instagram, diretsahang inamin ni Ate Shawi na pagod na siya sa kanyang mga ginagawa. Nais na raw niyang pagtuunan ng pansin ang kanyang mga mahal sa buhay, lalo na ang kanyang asawa at mga anak. Pakiusap pa niya sa lahat ng sumusuporta at nagmamahal sa kanya na patuloy siyang ipagdasal. Matatandaan noong 2019, nagpahiwatig din ang megastar na gusto na niyang ma-enjoy ang kanyang private life. Nilagay pa nga niya noon sa kanyang bio sa IG ang caption na retiring soon. At yan ang latest Bandera Chika. Thank you, Neil!
Salamat, Pauline. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.